Welcome to Cambodia. The challenge here is to complete a 7-day cycle tour of the country. Together with Mel, I cycle between 80 and 120 kilometres a day, going from the country's capital, Phnom Penh, to the beach resort of Sihanoukville, and then onto the famous Angkor temples in Siem Riep. Unfortunately, that does mean more of my dubious handlebar camera work. I'm not very good at holding a camera and cycling at the same time. We did the trip with Intrepid Travel, so Mel and I were with 6 others, Dave, Jodie, Terry, Caroline, Graham and Maureen, and we had 2 guides, Dean and Lucky. Lucky is a Cambodian national cyclist and an absolute star. Not only did he know everything there was to know about fixing bikes, but he also took us through some really cool routes through the Cambodian countryside. Every day we'd cycle to a different town. We'd stay a night in a hotel and then rise at 6 the next day to set off for the next town, with our support bus behind us. On the support bus were drinks, snacks, ice, first aid kits and our bags. The support bus proved really necessary. Just an hour into our first day, Terry took a massive tumble and almost got run over by a truck. The truck actually went over his watch, which was still on his wrist, so that just shows you how close he got to it. And so it was really necessary to have first aid kits to hand and obviously to not have all our luggage on our backs. The Cambodian countryside was gorgeous and cycling was a really nice way to see it, though the distances weren't easy, and I think if we were planning the trip ourselves, we'd probably try and limit it to about 50 kilometres a day. Considering how much the trip cost, the stand of the bikes wasn't actually all that great either, and I really damaged my knee on one of the days and couldn't actually cycle, most probably due to repetitive strain, and I actually spent a really frustrating day on the support bus having to just watch the others cycling. The trip took us to various museums and sites. We saw the Landmine Museum and we also visited the killing fields and saw the horrors of the Pol Pot regime. May as well. Should I take it in seat?
The jawbone here. To the baby, crazy man, Pol Pot. After 79, when the Vietnamese stopped fighting, 1 week and 10 days, I came back, I saw the tree are black and the green around the tree. I saw bad smell. 1980, open the mask, I saw everything. Big worm, bad smell. The gemstone, the gold, the big worm, I saw bad smell. 6 meters deep, the hole. You stand here before and mass grave, but the raining rain is shallow. Because number 7 only one hole open.
After a rest day on the beach in Sihanoukville, which is a seaside resort, we headed to Siem Riep for 2 days of temples. We rose at 4 a.m. to see sunrise over Angkor Wat and saw the famous Bante and Ta Prohm or Tomb Raider temple. Right, so it's actually day 4 of our cycle ride and we're now in Angkor, so the area with all of the temples. I think there are absolute thousands of temples. We're visiting some today and then we're going to visit some tomorrow, so we're doing about 80k today, going all the way over to the temple where they filmed Tomb Raider. The name of it escapes me at the moment, but when we get there I shall tell you the name. And then we see Angkor Wat tomorrow morning, possibly at about 4:30 so we can see sunrise. Anyway, I'm going to go and find out about this temple, Prabhu something or other. I'll find that one out for you. See you in a bit. While these 3 temples were pretty spectacular, getting up at 4 a.m. to see Angkor Wat really wasn't worth it. The sunrise was pretty poor and it doesn't even rise over the temple from where you actually stand. And both Mel and I were really quite bored of temples by the end of our 2nd day. There are a lot in Angkor, so if you do go there I would suggest just choosing wisely and actually really, even though there's massive crowds, just going to the main ones, because otherwise you just see the same architecture over and over again. One thing I will say, which is a real shame about Angkor Wat, is just how touristy it is. You literally get children of 4 or 5 not begging but trying to sell you stuff, and it's really scary that pretty much all these kids have done, or the only things they've learned, is how to say $1 for 10 postcards, and it's really upsetting, but it just gets so annoying. You literally, if you go to the temples, you will not be able to walk for these kids that just flock at you and just are trying to get money from you, which is a real shame, and really does kind of affect your experiences at the temples. Cycling was a great way to see Cambodia, but the cost of the trip through Intrepid was unnecessarily high, and we really got very little included in what we actually paid for. The bikes weren't included, we had to pay extra for that, and on top of that we also had to pay for all our meals and pretty much everything other than accommodation. And Mel and I had already spent about 4 days in Cambodia and knew that we could get a room very easily for less than a tenner between the pair of us, so I do think that the trip was very overpriced. And so if you do want to cycle across Cambodia, which is something I really would recommend doing, I would definitely recommend trying to do it off your own back. Now, I'm off to Bali next week, where I will be doing some trekking and some scuba diving, so I'll see you there.